We play and call it work.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dark Angels Codex Supplement review, first impression / hey Luka, what's in this book? So Luka hasn't checked out this book yet.
I've been very busy this week.
Yes, he has.
I'm a yes man today.
Yes, so I personally don't like doing reviews while by myself. I can be very monodrone and unengaging. At least Luka I can bounce stuff off of and he can give me his opinions, and he would be the perfect one to do this.
I'd just be like spot of the moment, like, yeah, I like that, or I don't like that, or sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, just a few things I want to say before we get into it. Whenever I talk personally, and probably Luka as well, when we're talking about something that's really good, super good auto-include, we're talking from a competitive standpoint, from a certain point of view, or if something's bad, we mean from a competitive standpoint. I mean, you can bring everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I don't find one bad thing. There's not one thing in this book I'm unhappy with.
Right.
Other than maybe it might be a little too strong for Steve.
Sure, okay, that's fair.
Because when I was going through it yesterday, when I don't know what you were doing.
I was doing fantasy yesterday.
No, sorry, it was the day before, actually.
I was doing Horus Heresy that day.
We were figuring out who was going to play the game against me in the MiniWarGaming Vault, because I've already at the time I'm doing this review, yes. I've already recorded 2 games. One will be up in the vault right now against Matthew, and I'll be playing Pure Ravenwing. And then I think this Monday, I'll play against Matthew again, Pure Deathwing.
Yeah, trying out both the very specialized wings there, obviously.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, even somebody said so in our last video that we played. I played Green Wing. Like you don't play Dark Angels for the green guys. You play them for the bone or the black.
There's like another comment too. It was like I came by to check out the video because it said Dark Angels. Turns out it was Green Wing. Like whatever, they got to show off the Green Wing every now and then. They're fun to play. He's got like a whole company of Green Wing. What is it?
I have lots.
Is it the 5th company you play?
Yeah, I make mine the 5th.
Yeah. All right.
That being said, last night I spent a lot of time. Okay, so I finally added. Oh, we'll get to it. We'll get to it real soon. I finally added Primaris Marines to my Dark Angels.
Oh yes.
And as of last night, I put together about a 3,000 point pure Green Wing list. And I'm purchasing just to add even more of that. So yes, Green Wing is still
like
very
all Primaris?
All Primaris Green Wing.
Okay.
But I'm also putting together all Primaris Deathwing and an all Primaris Ravenwing. But we'll get to that as to why that makes sense or doesn't make sense.
Right.
But let's get to this book. It's like literally everything you could ask for.
Yeah, so we're going to go through it in sections here. So if there are certain sections you're just not interested in for whatever reason, there should be timestamps. You can click on in the description. It'll tell you what sections are under what time, and it'll just take you to that section because we might tend to ramble on certain aspects of the book here, right? So
I'll try to keep us moving, but Luke and I can get into stuff.
Yeah, and if you're curious to check out the game that Steve played with Matt, you can just click the link down below for that 7-day free trial as well, and then get you access to lots of new Dark Angel content. It's going to be coming out shortly too, so expect a lot of that, and I'll probably have to suffer through all that.
I'll tell you this, we won't have to do any more Terminator on Terminator.
I mean, I'll do it one more time. I think one of those Terminators is outclassed by the others.
If you want to jump into that conversation, go to the Terminator section, but that's
we'll talk about that in the
That's a whole thing. All right, the first section we're going to cover is the Detachment Abilities. It is not what you expect. It is not what we've seen previously. It's it's the same, but different. Over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, Luke and I discussed that for Dark Angels, it'd be really cool because they're basically 3 armies in one. If they had 3 super doctrines.
Right, because Ritual of the Damned had been coming out, and it was going to have Dark Angels in it, and we were trying to figure out what we always want to guess what their doctrine's going to be, right? And like, wouldn't that be cool if they had one for the Devastator, the Tactical, and the Assault Doctrine, and it was like, they got like, Deathwing here, Green Wing there, or like Ravenwing there, whatever. Exactly
that happened.
I thought, but you know what, I was surprised because I thought the Ravenwing would be the Tactical one, not the Devastator one.
Agreed.
Yeah,
but it also makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. So basically, we have the Sons of the Lion Super Detachment. Well, sorry, what's the internet calling it? The Super Doctrine?
I always just call them Doctrine traits.
Doctrine traits?
I changed it like Doctrine, Tactics, Doctrine. I just changed it up. Your Doctrine rule, right? You get a special rule in the relevant Doctrine for your army. Dark Angels get a rule for every Doctrine they're in, except it might not be relevant if you don't have the relevant models in that Doctrine. So you to really benefit from it, your army would have to have Ravenwing, Deathwing, and Greenwing in it.
But like,
you don't need to do that though.
Okay, so a little hiccup right there. I think if you saw my face, you just saw me realize something that I did wrong. Which, if you go to the bat reps, I've already done it wrong.
It shouldn't be
But
that big a deal, though.
it was, I think it was 3 extra plasmas. It didn't matter. Well, okay, so not that big. Okay, so the Super Doctrine for Dark Angels used to be, while in the Devastator Doctrine,
Yeah.
heavy and rapid fire range weapons had 6 extra inches of range.
That was just the Dark Angel
Angels,
Doctrine rule before.
And then Assault had 3 extra inches. I think maybe Pistol had 3 extra inches as well.
Yes.
That's gone. It was really cool.
It was useful, sure. Yeah, it was,
It was not bad.
Extra plasma
for some
cannon
reason, I thought that was like the Dark Angel built-in thing.
you thought that was like the chapter tactic?
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so like not because their trap tactic is if you don't move, you get +1 to hit.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought that was still applied. It would basically had 4, so we had 1 and then 1 for everybody. So okay, forget that. Moving on.
It didn't influence the game too much. It's just if you watch the game and he does that, realize that he forgot that that's not there.
So what the Super Doctrines are now is 1 for all 3. The first one is Speed of the Raven. While the Devastator Doctrine is active for your army, you add 3 inches of movement to your Raven Wing models, and Raven Wing models are eligible to shoot in a turn they advanced.
I wish that they could before, though. But I guess they mostly had assault weapons.
Yeah, so no, you take the penalty as if you're firing assault weapons. So while the Devastator Doctrine is active, you can advance and fire all your weapons.
Oh, I guess it's relevant for just literal bike squads who don't have assault weapons typically.
Yeah. So bike squads will attack bikes with multi-meltas.
Yep.
The speeders, they can advance and fire their heavy weapons
That's right.
at -1.
That's right, because the other part of the detachment abilities is it finally clarifies that if you have the Raven Wing keyword and you don't already have the Jink ability, you now gain the Jink ability.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Anything Deathwing or Inner Circle that didn't have Inner Circle.
Yeah, anything that has the Deathwing keyword but didn't have Inner Circle before
Now has
gains
Inner
it.
Circle.
So like the I can never remember their names. Blade Guard veterans have.
Like our veterans have Inner Circle, which means you can't win them 1, 2, or 3.
And like your little
every Raven Wing, the bikers especially, have the Jink special rule.
Outriders too and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Unless they did before.
So what the Jink special rule is, why it applies to this Super Doctrine is, models have a 5-up invulnerable save from shooting. If they advance, the invulnerable save goes to 4-up.
Right.
Now, if forever, they start the game with it, but if ever they don't move in a movement phase or in their movement phase, they lose their invulnerable. So he's moving fast. So turn 1 with this Devastator Doctrine, your whole army gets, if you're playing Raven Wing, all your Raven Wing gets 3 extra inches of movement, can all advance, gain that 4-up invuln, whole army of 4-up invuln, and fire all their weapons at just a -1 penalty.
23-inch move on the first turn then?
Yeah, because most of the stuff auto advances 6 with a 14-inch move.
I assume you still have stratagem able to advance and charge?
No.
Oh, that's gone. Okay.
Yeah, we lost a few stratagems. We'll get to that. We gained a few. We gained a lot of nice
Right,
ones.
yeah, I would hope so, yeah.
Yeah.
So typically with these new codexes, you see a lot of the auto-include stratagems either gotten hit pretty bad or straight up removed. And a lot of the ones you would never typically think to use before have been brought up in power, or just new ones in general have been added.
It's interesting. A couple that being one of them, the advance and charge, lost. I'm sad it's gone, but I also get it.
Right. I personally do not like turn on charges if it's a
Well, there's still ways of doing it, and we'll get to that. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side of the table you're on.
Most armies have access to something like that. These guys are just really good at doing it, but I assume they still really are. They're fast. They get around. Heck, even without that, they move 17 inches. That's still like a good threat for turn on charges.
When we get to a section, you're going to be very interested in something about their speed. Okay, so the next one is Fire Discipline for when you're in the Tactical Doctrine. This one's not that interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's true grit from the Space Wolves, kind of. It's infantry non-deathwing have this rule. So your Green Wing have this one where they get to fire, is there certain types of weapons? Rapid fire and assault weapons while in engagement range. That is kind of cool. They get to fire their bolt guns, they get to fire their flamers or melta-guns, whatever.
Okay, so
plasma guns.
This is supposed to be a close range fire support army. Get close to the enemy, let them charge you, whatever.
Whatever, I still shoot gun.
Yeah. Now, you fire while rapid fire assault weapons in the Tactical Doctrine on infantry that aren't
Has to be
Deathwing
Tactical Doctrine, that's right.
are shooting into engagement range. It counts as Blitz Skill 5+.
Oh, I didn't even see that second part. That's at the very end of the sentence. Yeah.
So it is, but that's not that bad because you will have not moved.
Okay.
So you'll be a +1 to hit. So you'll be hitting you'll be 4 pluses.
I wonder. I wonder because like I feel like Dark Angels had this weird Overwatch 5 up thing in the past.
And then they actually had Overwatch and a Phobos skill in the past as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because Dark Angels have always had this weird like when I say True Grit, Space Wolves used to treat their bolt guns as bolt pistols.
One-handed, yeah.
And they'd fire them one-handed, so they just use them in combat one-handed. So they always fire bolt guns in close combat.
So this is one of those things that's not bad, but it's also not good. Like you're not gonna build it. I don't think you're gonna. You're not gonna build your army around it, and you might play 30, 40 games and it could never come up.
It's true. It is very obscure.
Especially since there's multiple ways for Dark Angels to fall back and fire. You're usually be better off just falling back and because either way, it's a rule. We can do something. Our other armies can't. You're just not going to use that often.
Right.
The next one is Implacable for Deathwing Infantry and Deathwing Dreadnoughts. Deathwing Dreadnoughts is important, but we'll go to that. While in the Assault Doctrine.
Right.
So basically there was a Warlord trait that Deathwing models around the Warlord would reroll hits against characters and models with, reroll wounds against characters or models with 8 or more wounds. That is now the Assault Super Doctrine for Deathwing Infantry and Dreadnoughts.
Yeah, that's just the old Laylo the Tyrant.
And you're going to see that come into play. Even we used to have Space Marine Statagems or the Space Marine Dark Angel Statagems. It allows you to put a unit into the doctrine you want.
Yes.
So even turn 1, you can be in this Assault Doctrine.
I think also
for some command points, 1 or 2 command points.
There's the generics. I don't know. Do you have access to one like that? Because the Space Marine one is like 2 command points. You pick a unit, they're like in all doctrines for that whole command phase.
Okay. So now I think of it. Then there's 2 ways. There's that one, and there's a Dark Angel one as well.
There's a specific Dark Angel one. Yeah. It's a little costly, but I mean it is very effective.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll say you're getting
it's hard to do on Terminators actually. Now that I think about it, because they don't show. You use it in your command phase. You can do it on turn 3 if they show up on turn 2, because you have to use it in your command phase, but they don't show up until your movement phase. Unless you're starting them on the table, obviously. I'm thinking of a combined arms force where you have like a unit of Terminators in reserve or something. But if all your Terminators are on the table, then you're fine in that regard.
But yeah, I mean, we got 3 detachment abilities for 3 different phases. If you want to build a shooty army, a close combat army, you have your options. It's not super focused into one particular play style, and you can do whichever. That's why main reason why I love Dark Angels. I really do feel like it's 3 armies in one.
Yeah, we have a couple of like the first company, second company rules as well, which is a nice addition. For these
it's also a new thing that we've never seen yet before in Warhammer.
This is unique to Dark Angels. I'm not surprised, though I feel bad for White Scars a little bit. Maybe they'll get an update in the future that'll allow them to do something similar. But you're playing the first company.
Well, I mean, pause for a second. This just ends the debate. Which bikes are better? Dark Angels.
Yeah, it's like, without a doubt, the Dark Angel ones are a little bit better now.
Did you just drop your mic?
No, I dropped something else.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I dropped a little remote control, fell off my leg. It's unfortunate. The first company, the Deathwing, if they're in the Vanguard detachment and their Warlord is in that detachment, it gets refunded its cost of 3 command points, and only not Deathwing Knights, but Deathwing Terminators and regular Terminators. Oh, so it says Deathwing Terminator Squad, Terminator Assault Squad, and Relic Terminator Squads gain the objective secured ability. So pretty much all your Terminators except for your characters and your actual Deathwing Knights gain OBSEC. It should be that, right?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, and
not aggressors, not Blade Guard.
No. Okay, hold on. Okay, so you. To clarify what you're saying is, if you bring a Vanguard detachment,
right,
and every model in the detachment has the Deathwing keyword,
yep,
you have to have that, then it becomes the first company.
Yes.
Which means if your Warlord is in it, you get refunded the 3 command points.
And certain parts of that are OBSEC.
And then a lot of them are OBSEC.
The basic Terminators of that are OBSEC.
What is not going to be OBSEC, obviously, is your characters.
Yep.
Your Blade Guard veterans and your Deathwing Knights.
I guess aggressors aren't in it.
And then aggressors can't be in the detachment.
They can't be, yeah. I always thought they were going to be.
Well, because I think
there was like a painted aggressor that was painted.
Okay, so here's the interesting thing. So actually a couple of years ago now, it was hinted that Games Workshop was thinking about because there was a little blurb in the Space Marine book or Dark Angels book saying that the first company has been made up of, it's only Terminators. It's been that way for like 30 years real life, right?
Yeah.
But there was like a blurb or something that the Mark 10 Gravis armor was also inducted in. They clearly went the other way. They're not. It was suspected that they could, but no. So just the old school Terminators and Blade Guard veterans.
And now Blade Guard veterans as well, yeah.
But now you're thinking, well, hold on. That means I can't have a Land Raider or a Dreadnought in the detachment? Well, we have the Rites of Initiation rule, or I guess it's a rule.
You get this if you have a Dark Angel detachment. If your army is Battleforged, when mustering your army, you can upgrade any of the following units in a Dark Angels detachment in your army to become members of the Death Wing. And that's a captain, a Primaris lieutenant, with a Storm Shield only.
You have to have a Storm Shield.
So it has to be the Blade Guard veteran kind of lieutenant there. A Dreadnought of any kind, so it could be like old Dreadnoughts or newer Dreadnoughts. Any Land Raider, Repulsor, Storm Raven gunship, or a transport unit that can transport Terminator models, which would be Forge World
I'm thinking of Forge World.
Yeah, Spartans.
So basically, the captain costs 20 points to upgrade him to Deathwing, but that means he gains...
Inner Circle.
Yeah, and then you can't do 1, 2, or 3. It's 15 points for a Dreadnought, which means the Dreadnought can be in this attachment, and the Dreadnought, while in the Assault Doctrine, will be rerolling wounds against characters and vehicles.
Yes, anything with any unit.
Not vehicles. Characters or models with 8 or more wounds.
It could be a
it just does vehicles.
Yeah, vehicles, or it's typically vehicles or monsters in that case. Yeah.
I can't think of. There might be something. I can't think of anything that's not a vehicle or a monster that has 8 wounds.
No, I can only think of monsters and vehicles.
Yeah.
Like, Gaz is a monster.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
He
is literally a monster. Yeah.
Yep, he has a monster keyword. So I mean, it's a nice little bonus. And if you want to create a fluffy first company, you want to bring bone-painted repulsors or bone-painted redemptors or bone-painted, redemptors especially. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, it's cool looking.
I'm doing it. The page shows exactly those 2 things. I just realized.
And if you're curious, the Inner Circle, like only wounded on a 4-up, is only for infantry. Now, it won't work on the Dreadnoughts or the vehicles. They'll be able to legally brought in the detachment, but they won't get the...
Only the infantry gains the can't wound me on 1, 2, or 3.
From what it looks like, the only thing they benefit from is they can be part of the first company, and they get to reroll wound rolls against those units of 8 or more wounds and characters. Yeah, that's typically it. I mean, there might be something more, but
And the other detachment is the second company.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, you're probably a Dark Angels player. You know that the Dark Angels, for those who don't know, the Dark Angels organize themselves a little bit differently.
Yeah.
So basically, the first company for Dark Angels is all Deathwing, all Terminators. The second company is all Ravenwing, all Bikers.
Right.
And then the third company, and so on, is organized like the regular Codex Astartes. So the second company, you can make them, they have a special name now. It's the second company. So you have to have all Ravenwing keyword. And bike squads, not all bikers, bike squads, and outriders gain objective secured.
Right, that means attack bikes on their own don't have it, but if they're part of a bike squad, they will get it. What else? What are the? Oh yeah, obviously Black Knights don't get it. The characters don't get it. The speeders and everything don't get it.
But just having bike squads and outriders are just secured is amazing. And if you're Warlord the detachment, you get refunded.
Yeah.
Points.
So this is where I say it kind of feels bad for White Scar players because a lot of you probably want to have outriders as troops. They're still fast attack choices, but they're objective secured in that term too. That feels good. That feels nice to have.
So now you can play pure Ravenwing, pure Deathwing.
Yes.
Not feel like you're down command points, and
also be able to contest objectives.
Exactly.
Which is the most important part of 9th edition.
So that's interesting. So it opens the door to how much more can they go off the rails in the next book? So we have 3 super doctrines, and we have 2 changes to existing detachments with this book. Really cool, super fluffy, and pretty powerful.
There's also this restriction too, where your army can only include 1 Ravenwing captain and 1 Deathwing captain from the same chapter.
Yeah, but
that just goes in line with the other. That kind of goes in line with the other restrictions in these new codexes, which I'm a big fan of, by the way. I love restrictions. I say that in all of these reviews. Just bring on the restrictions, right? Is the idea, and that's it. That's all you get for a detachment of Dark Angels, and then you'll get more rules for having an army of Dark Angels.
Super positive changes. I got no complaints. Super happy with this section hugely.
Very good, very good.
All right, next thing is the stratagems. A lot of good ones. A lot of stuff I didn't expect were actually really good.
I would imagine most of you are here for stratagems.
I would assume so. Well, the first thing you want to know if you came here, did you gain Jink on everything? Did you gain? You got that.
That was. I feel like that was going to go without question.
No. Yeah. The first thing you're here for is a lion. No lion. Still no lion. Okay, a lot of new stratagems. I think we got like 17 in this book. The first one is Wrath of the Lion. It's 2 command points. Use this strategy in your command phase if a combat doctrine is active for your army. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a Dark Angels model from your army makes an attack with a weapon specified by the active doctrine, On an unmodified wound roll of 6, improve the armor penetration of the attack by 1. This is cumulative with any bonus on the combat doctrine.
This is your every chapter gets this.
I'm not ever using this. I'm not ever going to use this.
I always have said this is something you might use. I have yet to use.
I will never. I can't think of a situation where I will spend 2 command points on this, because the command points are going to be better spent on interrupting, even a reroll. I'm not ever using this strategy.
It's a little too obscure. 6 is 2 wound. It affects your whole army, which is cool.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I just not.
I'm sure it's been big for some people out there. I just haven't had the opportunity to really benefit.
So here's how I'm going to break it down in my head. If I'm going to spend 2 command points on this, that means I have to have a lot of shots or attacks in play. So there's only 2 times that's going to happen. At the beginning of the game when all your stuff is still alive, or at the end of the game when you've mastered your opponent.
Right.
So either I'm not going to use the command points that early for this, or I don't need it because the game's over. I'm never using the stratagem.
I don't mind this for a tactical, because this is nice because it's relevant in every doctrine. For typically for the other chapters, it's only relevant in their doctrine. Like Ultramarines, like the tactical, etc.
If I ever use it, I'll eat my words. I'll say, so hey, you know what? I said I'd never use this, but I did.
This typically isn't super bad for things like
Bikes with shots?
The bolt guns. Yeah. Typically bolt guns. Tons of shot bolt guns. Make them all AP2 on 6 to wound. Not all, but every 6 to wound is AP2 instead of AP, or AP3 for a bolt rifle even.
I don't think I would spend 2 command points to give a unit +1 AP.
I typically shy away from it. I like to believe it could be useful though.
And it's just on 6, so yeah.
But the next one is pretty useful. It's 2 command points now. Is this one before, essentially?
No, it was 2 before. It works the same, but it also added a little bit.
It's a little bit. So this is intractable. It has 2 different abilities based on the unit you're using it on. If you're using it on Death, it allows you to fall back and then do something. So if you're Deathwing, you have to roll. You have to do a pseudo leadership check.
It allows you to fall back and shoot.
That's what it does.
It does that.
It lets you fall back and shoot, but Deathwing have a rule where they have to do a leadership check to test the fallback. This one just says you don't have to do that. You automatically pass the check.
Well, so it's inner circle. So inner circle are supposed to be like, we're not going to ever fall back, or we're fearless. If they are never allowed to fall back if they're engaged with the fallen.
Sure.
And then if they want to fall back against anything else, unless they're a vehicle or a biker, because there is inner circle bikers, the knights, they're there. They have to do a leadership test to fall back. You can use a stratagem to ignore the leadership test, or even fall back away from inner circle. I think you can fall back from inner circle as well.
When a Dark Angel unit from your army is selected to fall back, if it has the inner circle ability, you do not need to first roll 2d6. It can just automatically do so. And until the end of the turn, that unit is eligible. It's fall back and shoot. But if you have the inner circle rule, then you don't have to roll a 2d6.
So 2 command points, fall back and shoot. Anything in your army.
That's pretty much it, yeah. Just fall back, shoot with that's super useful.
It's 2 command points, but you're going to use it often.
Exactly.
Well, you're only going to use the things that didn't go the way you wanted to, but you're going to use it often. I love it. Next one is Deathwing Assault. It used to be like 2/3 command points, depending on how many models are in your squad, allow you to fire twice, whatever. Now it's only 1 command point, and a Deathwing unit from your army that's selected to shoot gets +1 to wound if it had deep striked that turn. So you come off from reserves, you deep strike, you Deathwing Assault, bam, over here, and then +1 to wound. Super good. If you're going to deep strike your Terminators, you're going to use it. If you deep strike your Terminators. Yeah. Oh, sorry. If you deep strike your Terminators with guns.
With guns. I guess assault terminators wouldn't want to use this.
Yeah. Or knights.
Like we got a unit here as a great example. These are like 7 storm bolters and 2 cyclone missile launchers. Or is it 8 storm bolters and 2 cyclone missile launchers? Technically 10 storm bolters and 2 cyclone missile launchers.
Yeah, because
the cyclone missile launchers also.
So 40 shots +1 to wound bolt guns, and then
they're AP1 too, right?
Yeah, like it's really good. It's really good.
And then you have like a hatch nearby or whatever.
I'm not an expert at playing Terminators yet. I'm still learning how to do assault phase proper. But I just find myself deep striking by Terminators less and less and less.
Well, I mean, yeah. If you're doing all Terminators, then you typically probably just want to deep strike that one unit.
But in the combined arms list,
I would always have the Terminators in reserve.
Now, it is worth noting at this point, because it's relevant to the Deathwing Assault, is the I forget what it's called. Combined Assault? Yeah. So the Combined Assault stratagem is gone. So no more deep striking close to bikes close to the enemy. So that stratagem's gone. Probably rightfully so.
Yeah, that one could have been kind of obnoxious. Is there any other ones that you can think of that are gone? The advanced charge?
Yes, advanced charger's gone. Ravenwing getting a 5-up invuln on the turn they are charged or have charged is gone.
Okay.
There might be something else.
Oh, Jinx only is shooting, right? I assume.
Jinx only is shooting.
Yeah, that makes sense now that I think about it.
But every time I've tried previously, every time I've tried to use that 5-up invuln,
it just doesn't work.
The guy I'm fighting when has AP2. It didn't matter anyway.
Oh, I see.
So it's not that big of a loss. Actually, we gained something way better that kind of. We gained something way better.
It's back. It's back. The next stratagem, though, is full throttle. Use this in your movement phase after a Ravenwing unit from your army advances. This unit automatically moves, makes a normal move of up to 12, but he cannot shoot with or declare charge with it that turn, and if it contains 5 or fewer models, it's 1 CP, otherwise it's 2. So they double their auto 6 for their advance, essentially. Right? They just move 12 instead of 6 when they advance.
No.
Is that not it at all?
No, you're close. So you move 20.
Right.
And then you move 12. So you move 14, now advance 6, so you move 20. Sorry, I do math. 22.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see what it's saying. So you do your advance, you do your 20-inch advance, or more if it's the first doctrine, and then you just automatically do another 12-inch.
So what it was you moved. It used to be move again.
Yeah.
So you had like a crazy move.
Right,
they reduced it to 12.
Right.
It's still, when you need it, really good.
Oh yeah, anything that makes your unit just move again is insane. You get from this corner of the table to that corner of the table, and now you're on this objective with OBSEC.
I'll say this.
Absolutely.
In the bat rep that I was playing in the MiniWarGaming Vault, without giving any spoilers, there was a time where I'm like, okay, I have to use a stratagem for, you're gonna love a little combo coming up. I have to use a stratagem to get a certain biker in a certain position I need him to be in, but it just so happened that Matt pulled a casualty away where I was able to fit through a gap. But like when you need this stratagem, it is clutch, especially since there's gonna be some combos that you don't want to use this with.
I remember, it just reminds me of the Tyranid one where you tell a Tyranid unit to move again, and they take some more wounds maybe, based on how many models are in the unit. But that's crazy useful. That's super powerful. You don't want to typically use it in a giant Black Knight squad, but like little squads of actual bikers, that's pretty effective, super cost effective. And they have to give up shooting and charging, but whatever. You're there for, in the end, you're there for points, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And that's what it's going to get you.
And if you have bike units that are now objective secured, it's totally worth having a tiny bike unit zooming up. I'm still not objective from you.
Exactly. He's like, you only have two tacticals left there, whatever, 2 troops. 1 command point, that's mine now. Yeah. You can use it.
The next one is I have a feeling this is going to be really frustrating sometimes. It's called Line Unbreakable. It is only 1 command point, though you have to do it at the start of the fight phase. So it could be a little bit easier for one to get around. Basically, models can only fight, so I pick a unit and use the Line Intractable. And models can only fight them if they're in engagement range. So normally models can fight your models if they're within half an inch of a model within half an inch. Not anymore. They have to be within an inch or 5 vertically. This could cut down a lot of attacks from the opponent if they're a horde army.
It takes out the whole back rank pretty much. Yeah.
I love it for Deathwing because a lot of quality attacks don't really do well with them. You want tons of attacks. You want a horde of Genius Killers on them.
Yeah.
You do this and you cut down a huge amount of their attacks.
Yeah.
For 1 command point.
For 1 command point, it's a great defense against one of the biggest weaknesses, which is like a ton of like little AP1 attacks. Right?
If you're in a narrow hallway where you're fighting against a bunch of like Thunderwolf Cavalry.
Sure, yeah.
You can cut their attacks way down.
That was a good example because we had a game a while ago where I just had like one guy within like half an inch, and then he had like the other 5 guys all around him. But they were all swinging, right? But then this would counteract that. That would feel bad.
This won't always be useful, but when you use it at the right time for the right situation, it's going to be really frustrating for your opponent's assault armies.
And that right there is how stratagems should be designed. There should never be a stratagem that's like. Unfortunately, there are a couple here that you're going to use every turn. Those should not exist. They should be more.
I wouldn't say every turn, but every game.
If you're
even this one, you're not going to use every game.
No.
But the times that you do,
it'll feel good. Absolutely. Yeah, that's pretty effective. The next one is High Speed Focus. This is an epic deed stratagem, if you're curious. It's for a Ravenwing vehicle using your shooting phase. When you allocate a ranged attack to this vehicle model from your army until the start of your next turn, they have a 4-up invulnerable save, I guess, instead of their 5-up.
So that's existed before?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Next one we got no foe too great to subdue. So it's for Deathwing Knights when they're chosen to fight in the fight phase. When they're fighting a vehicle or monster with just their mace's absolution, not the flails.
Okay.
So the maces will get +1 to wound and +1 armor penetration. Now it's 2 command points. If it was 1, I'd use it every time, no matter what.
Right.
So good. 2, you got to think about what you want to spend the 2.
Well, 2 gets
because they're already really good at killing those things.
Yep. It might not even be worth it. You might just like wait, burn 2 command points for something they're already going to kill.
I mean, they're only strength 8. If you're fighting a toughness 8 vehicle or monster, you might want to use it.
Well, as Mortarian comes to mind, right?
But I'll tell you this: I've already fought toughness 8 monsters and didn't use it and did fine.
You get to reroll wound rolls already against them anyway.
For various other reasons. There's tons of ways of getting rerolls for your already powerful Space Marines.
Yeah, these guys are great at taking out big guys. That's the whole idea. March for command. This is requisition. This is like an upgrade before the game. Use it before the battle. You select a Ravenwing Huntmaster or a Knightmaster model from a Dark Angel model. Or a Dark Angel model from your army that has the sergeant in their profile, and you give them special issue Wargear relics, even though they are not a character. This is one where you can just get like mastercraft a weapon or digital lasers or whatever. You can just upgrade your sergeants to have cool things.
Well, it's interesting here because we get to the relics. The Heavenfall Blade became, what do you call those?
It's a special issue Wargear.
Yeah, it became special issue Wargear.
So you can give that to a sergeant, or it's a good blade. Like Space Wolves have access. You can upgrade a pack leader to have frost weapons. So you can give them like lightning claws and upgrade them to frost claws, which are strength 5, 2 damage each.
Nice. Why don't you do that?
I do that every time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Next we got Paragon of the Chapter. 1 command point, you give a second warlord trait to your warlord. There are a lot of good warlord traits in here. I haven't found a combo yet. I haven't really thought about it yet, but I'm going to look into that later on.
So Blood Angels and Space Wolves have the exact same thing. It's kind of weird. Like I thought that was gonna be unique. I was hopeful, but whatever. They all.
I'm thinking I'm gonna use it for like. There's probably a better combo, but like making a chaplain, wise order / champion humanity with like buffing everything and trying to make a super killy character for killing other characters. But I don't know. I'll find some combos.
And then the last requisition is Honored by the Rock. I'm sorry, I can't take that name seriously. I just think of Dwayne Johnson. I just think Honored by the Rock. I don't know.
You're honored by. What's wrong with that? We all want to be honored by the Rock.
I mean, like I get it. The Rock, it's the fragment of the planet. But man, come on. All right.
Can you smell what Caliban's cooking?
Can you smell what Caliban? Okay, you can give 1 relic of the Rock to a character model from your army that is drawn from a Dark Angel successor chapter instead of giving them a special issue Wargear relic. So, essentially, the way successors work, you do not gain access to their first founding relics unless you spend a command point to do so. And bam, that's just enforcing that.
Next is Tactical Appraisal. I don't even know what this does because I don't remember reading it.
Oh.
Use a stratagem in your command phase. Select 1 Dark Angels unit from your army within 6 of your Warlord, then select 1 Combat Doctrine. Until the start of your next command phase, for purpose of that unit, treat that Combat Doctrine being active if your army...
This is the one we talked about earlier. You're like, this is the one. Yeah, you're like, Dark Angels have one that can do that, and then there's the generic.
Oh, yeah. I actually use this. I don't remember. I actually use this one.
I think most chapters have access to a way to manipulate the doctrines in their own way.
So actually, at the time I used this one was in the second game, so the game you're going to see on Monday, where I thought you just the phase you want to use it, like say fight phase or solve.
Oh, no, yeah, you have to use these in the command phase.
Yeah.
You have to like plan a few phases ahead with them.
But when you have, if you're doing combined arms and you want to put those Terminators in Assault Doctrine turn 1 because you got charged turn 1,
sure, yeah.
Or you might get charged turn 1, or whatever, right?
Well, like I think of great units this is useful on things like this. You think of Blood Angels with Death Company, and you 2 command points to put them in all the phases. You do the Forlorn Fury where they jump forward, then move, and then charge. Death Company almost always get a turn 1 charge, so you put them in the Assault Doctrine right away.
You see, putting your bikes backwards a doctrine back to a Devastator Doctrine to advantage.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's tons of uses for this.
Absolutely.
I think you're going to use this in more games than not. But you're not going to use it every game.
Not the last one, but the next one is the Hunt. This is use it at the start of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins, you select only 1 Ravenwing unit from your army, and that unit can make a normal move as if it were your movement phase, but must end that move more than 9 away from any enemy models. If both players have units that can do this, whoever's taking the first turn does theirs first, and et cetera, et cetera. It has 5 inferior models. It's only 2 CP, 3 otherwise. So you could do a turn 1 move. With that's what guarantees your turn 1 charges.
Yeah. So it used to be a warlord trait where the warlord and 1 unit can do it.
Yeah.
Now it's a stratagem where you can do it as many times as you want.
Well, you can only do it once.
No.
At the start of the first battle. Oh yeah. Oh no, you can do
Pick
actually.
one,
Right.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
But I don't think you're ever going to.
No, you're gonna. Yeah,
because
that's
it's expensive.
That's
now.
super expensive. Holy.
But if your opponent, if you're playing, okay, if you're playing a friendly game or a battle report, and your opponent deploys in a way where you can win the game right away because of this, don't do it. Play it out, let them redeploy. If you're in a competitive tournament and your opponent makes a deployment mistake, you're going to use this. Capitalize.
I personally hate abilities like this. Because
they're not fun for your opponent.
But they're also a big gamble for you. Say your opponent's aware that you can do this, and you might not be aware of your opponent's plan for that. You do it, and then you mess it up, and you don't. Maybe you underestimate what you can kill or what your opponent's able to do, and then you just throw the game.
How I personally, every reason I use this a little differently, and for the playstyle mindset. How I would most likely use it, I'll take you into the Black Knights, put them directly out in the open, and then you're gonna deploy a bunch of guns on them, and I'm gonna, before the game starts, get them out of the line of sight, and you just deployed bad because you tried to shoot my Black Knights.
That's a good way to do it.
It has tons of different uses.
Yeah, that's
it's not just for turn one charges.
Right. That's a good use for that.
That's how I'm most often going to use it. In fact, Luka, if you see my Black Knights out in the open, I'm trying to bait your guns on them so I can move away from them.
I don't bring guns to games, so.
Oh yeah, it's true. Just the guns, right?
I typically like close combat or like a good mid-range. So my guns never usually have turn one shooting capabilities because that's lame.
We have target guidance, which I feel like is in the Space Marine Codex. I don't know why it's here. Maybe it's not. Use the stratagem in the shooting phase, select one enemy unit with an 18 and invisible to a Ravenwind land speeder or land speeder storm. Until the end of the phase, oh, never mind, I misunderstood. Until the end of that phase, each time a model from a fairly Dark Angels unit makes a range attack against that unit, add 1 to the hit roll for 2 command points. I was thinking this is like the Whirlwind one.
Oh, this is for speed. This is pretty much, you drag your speeder up, you spend a command point, and the speeder marks that unit.
I would definitely have used it. I did not use this stratagem in the game that's in the vault right now, but I would have.
Right, this works for any Dark Angel. This is meant for combined arms.
Buddy, I mean, you could literally you can turn one everything devastator doctrine, advance everybody from -1 to hit, and then go back to +1 to hit.
Sure, yeah. You could absolutely do
that.
Maybe
one unit, but...
This works really well in the second company completely, or having some Ravenwing in your army. You literally have to have Ravenwing in your army to use this because you need the speeders. Yeah. But like you could have like a big spot of like plasma cannon devastators, all +1 to hit if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, it's friendly Dark Angels.
Yeah, so
the speeder does it.
The speeder does it.
But all speeders are Ravenwing.
Right. So it's like a nice combined arms thing, right? Like you get access to. It's just pretty much focused down one thing. Speeders jumping forward. Hey guys, kill this, please kill it. It's gonna kill me if you don't. Right? It's one of those. We have Swift Strike as the next one. This is 2 or 3 command points based on unit size, I assume. Use it in your fight phase. You select after a Ravenwing unit from your army has fought. If that unit is within engagement range of any, oh boy, this is the one you're talking about. It can then, if it's in engagement range of any enemy unit still, it can then fall back as if it were the movement phase. Otherwise, it can make a normal move as if it were the movement phase. So either you fight, wipe them out, then make a normal move, or you fight, oh crap, they're still alive, I fall back.
It's so good.
It costs,
but it's 2/3 command points, rightfully so.
It costs 3 command points if your unit has more than 5 models in it.
This is something you're in a vect.
That could be super annoying. Yeah. That's the super. I think that's just that could be a frustrating one because you charge in, you hit them up with your Corvus hammers if you're Black Knights, or like I guess chain swords. Otherwise,
I might just charge in a regular bike squad to do mediocre attacks, just the sole purpose is moving away and go grabbing your objective.
Well, this also works on something like Samael going in with the sword, or like a killy character.
Tons of things. Like this stratagem is. If we only got this, Steve Super, like this is. I think the proper phrase is the bee's knees.
This is the bee's knees. This is right up Steve's aisle. This is very cowardly.
This is
now there are enemy units in the game that would stifle this. Things like succubus. Is this succubus?
Whatever. I'll shoot her.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, there's the whip.
The net.
Shard net. That's right.
But don't they have to attack for it to work?
I don't think so. I think it's when you go to fall back. It's especially where you both have to roll a D3. But
is it a fallback?
It's a fallback. If they're not, if you kill, it doesn't matter. There's Shardnet and Paler, and there's.
Well, you don't do it against them.
But then again, in that same army, there's Vex. So
Scary, I'm not playing against you.
I think there's other armies you're not allowed to fall back against either.
Everybody's getting stuff like that. There's a strategy like that, but like typically. On your turn, they're not going to be able to react to it as well as they normally do, right? Exactly, like it's still my favorite in this book. Next one we got is Secret Agenda, 1 command point. Here's the base of it, how it works for it as the game stands right now. I don't have to show you my secondary objectives, I write them down. I have to, if I ever score one,
that's the Dark Angel thing, yeah.
I have to reveal them once I score them, so if I take engage in all fronts and I get 3 spots, I have to show, hey, I have to engage in all fronts. Yeah. But if I took Bring It Down, those scored at the end of the game, I'm going to tell you.
And game objectives, you have no idea.
The problem with this is I don't think it ever matters because I have yet to go into a 9th edition game and not already know what my opponent put for secondaries.
Sure, that's true. You might be able to
now we'll see how things move with more coming out. But right now, it's I'm not going to spend a valuable command point on it right now.
Right. Well, you have your own objectives too. You might not know everyone.
I love mine.
Yeah. Exactly. I like that because I'm pretty sure 8th edition you had something like this too for Mails from a War missions.
Your Mails from cards are always face down. Yeah. I never used it because it was just difficult to film with.
It's hard to record with that. You always have to be like, okay, look away. I got to show the camera what I got.
But it's really cool. They're secretive. It's really cool. I dig the fluff and narrative of it.
The Dark Angel's goals are impossible to understand. We have stasis shells. This is a very, very Dark Angel thing. The stasis shells have always been their war gear. They have it in Warhammer 30, the Horus Heresy 30K. Upon detonation, a stasis shell momentarily freezes time. Use it in your shooting phase when a Ravenwing model, I guess it's only Ravenwing in this case, model from your army shoots with an Astartes grenade launcher.
Only Ravenwing models have Astartes grenade launchers, that's why.
Okay. That model can only make 1 attack with that weapon this phase. If a hit is scored, the target is caught in stasis until the start of your next turn, so all of their turn, and the attack sequence ends, so it doesn't do any damage. While a unit is caught in stasis, it cannot fall back, so not including vehicles and monsters though. So swarms, beasts, bikes, infantry, all that stuff gets caught in stasis.
Super useful. Hey, guess what's back? Weapons of the Dark Age.
Yes, that's the last one here, but it's 2 command
points. 2
command
points now, plus 1 damage of plasma.
Yeah.
I actually thought we weren't going to get that. I thought it was too powerful. But we got it back.
I'm happy it's 2 command points and not 1.
Still using it every time.
So this is what I was referencing earlier when I say I don't like to see stratagems that you're going to use every turn. You might not use that every turn because it might get too expensive to use that's 10 command points over the course of a game. You're probably not going to use that every turn.
I've yet to see a situation where I'm not using it.
Oof. I can't believe that. Come on, 10 well.
You know it is worth the command points every time. The output is worth it every time.
Well,
you can split your fire, right? Kill 2 vehicles, destroy 3 with infantry. So I've actually used it previously where I just don't want to risk supercharging. I need two damage models. I'm just going to spend the 1 command. I'll spend the 2 command points and then not risk any of my guys.
That's true. Yeah, it does make your non-supercharged.
But now with Apothecaries bringing models back free, I might not use it in that regard that often anymore, but you better believe it is worth using every time they're firing at multiple wound targets. Every time. Like often I'll do the math like, okay, it's overkill. But what's good is I'll just take half of them fire at this vehicle, half at this vehicle, and it's not overkill, and then my pilly stuff can finish off those 2 vehicles. It is worth it every time, which is not healthy for a game system when a stratagem is so good, in my opinion, that you're just always going to use it. There's rarely a situation where you're not going to use this. The only time you're not going to use this, you're firing at 1 wound models, and you already overkill. Like it's always good.
I'm just happy it went up to 2 command points.
And that's the stratagems. Next up, we're going to cover the Warlord traits, the Interomancy Discipline, and Relics of the Rock. Oh, I guess Special Edition War Gear.
And yeah.
So Warlord traits, we got a lot more than everybody else, typically. We have 10.
Right, you have 6 generic ones, the Dark Angel ones. You got 2 for Ravenwing and 2 for Deathwing.
Yeah. First one is Brilliant Strategist, the one in the Space Marine book. It works the same. It's solid. It's a good default. It's a good backup, just jumping right to it.
Right. The next one's Fury of the Lion. It's an aura for your Warlord. If your Warlord charged, or was charged, or hero can intervene, you get to add 1 to the strength characteristic of models in his aura. So if you're within 6 of your Warlord and it's the first round of combat for him, you get an extra strength. That's kind of cool, I suppose. That doesn't work well with Power Fists and stuff like that, but
when friendly units charge while they're within 6 of your Warlord.
Oh, did I just say that wrong? Yeah. Oh, geez, I'm all over. Sorry, folks.
This was Fury of the Lion from like their 8th edition book. We got it back.
Okay.
So we host the Warlord and you charge plus 1 strength. It can be really good if you're going. Assault Intercessors are gonna love this.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is mostly for intercessors or tacticals or bikes even too, kind of.
Yeah. Actually, it's good. It's solid. If you want to go close combat. or even Terminators, but Terminators less likely need it because you're going to go strike. Yeah.
Yeah, you got strike 9 with it.
Next one's kind of poo. Calamanite Knight. Each time the Warlord makes a melee attack against infantry or biker, it always wins the other 2.
Sure. Okay.
I'm never going to take that.
Yeah, that's I would never take that. Like, it's so minor.
Yeah.
It's so minor. We have Stubborn Tenacity. When your Warlord is destroyed, if it does not explode, nice, you can use this Warlord trait instead of using any other abilities that take effect as a result of this model being destroyed. If you do, this Warlord is not removed from play until the start of the next turn or the end of the battle, whichever comes first. Until that happens, it is still considered to be in play, but any further wounds this Warlord would lose are not lost. That's cool.
Yeah, so he's going to fight, he needs to keep his auras up.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
He's just too mad to die.
The problem with this one, I don't like.
Or he's too stubborn to die.
Stubborn to die. It's really okay when it works and when you need it. It is so good. The problem with it, I don't like taking things that only work if the plan failed.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. So I'm probably never going to use it. But man, there'll be times where like, oh, you know what? Right now, it'd be perfect if I had that.
You could, because you can take 2. You could always spend a command point to take that as a secondary roller trait just in case.
Yeah, I know, but there's so many good ones though.
Well, I mean,
But
so
that
far
one's
we've
a good
only
one too.
What was the next one? Decisive Tactician.
Decisive Tactician, he has an aura of +1 advance in charge.
For core only.
Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much everything in Space Marines, but minus like the big vehicles and characters. We have Honor of the First Legion. This Warlord is eligible to perform a hero convention if it's within 6 horizontally and 5 vertically. He becomes the Space Wolf.
Yeah, a Raven Wing champion does that. I guess get the characters, and he does a pretty good job. So I don't think I ever want this in my other Warlord.
I wouldn't. I don't.
Whatever.
That can be kind of cool, but it's not. Oh, there's also a second part to that. It's just on the other part of the page. I didn't notice that. Each time this Warlord makes a hero convention move, so long as it ends its move closer to the closest enemy model, it can move. Oh, never mind. It just clarifies that it's allowed to also go 6 instead of 3.
Oh, it can go towards a hero instead of the closest unit.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have 2 Raven ones. We have Lightning Fast Reflexes and Master of Maneuver. So Lightning Fast Reflexes are subtract 1 to hit against the Warlord if you're Raven Wing.
Sure.
The other one is the Master of Maneuver. The Warlord is able to shoot or charge if it fell back.
That's really good. That's the one I would take.
You would?
I don't care about -1 to hit. I just don't care about that anymore.
Because Samuel, he has to have Master of Maneuver. He can fall back and charge and shoot.
Okay.
I don't want him to ever do that.
What? That sounds amazing. Falling back, that's my favorite thing about the Necron thing.
If Samuel had charged, he killed what he had to go after.
Sure.
Or if he got charged, the problem failed.
I think new things are too durable to kill.
In my opinion, Samuel's still not going to be in charge of the Raven Wing. The Talon Master is because I want a better Warlord trait.
You just want him to have -1 to hit?
I'd rather have Brilliant Strategist than Master of Maneuver. But whatever.
That's the weird doctrine, right? Each time it makes an attack, if the attack is active for your army, then it's considered to be active. Okay, that's right, yeah. That one's kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
The Deathwing Warlord traits are Watch and I can't say it, Inexorable.
Oh, Watched and Inexorable. It's different, I think Inexorable or Inexorable.
Whichever way.
Yeah, they're both acceptable.
One of them is Deny Psychic Power automatically once per battle.
That's pretty good.
It is, but so is Inexorable. It is -1 damage.
That's good too.
Yeah. They're both solid Warlord traits. Now, Asmodai must have Fury of the Legion. That's the +1 strength in the charge.
He's a chaplain.
Azrael and Lazarus must have Brilliant Strategist. That's the move back a doctrine for unit. Belial is Inexorable. You can't hurt him.
He's a little bit.
Ezekiel is Stubborn Tenacity.
He would be.
Makes sense, especially he's the guy who has the book, and remember he loses games automatically in second edition because of him. And Sam is Master of Maneuver.
Yeah.
So nothing is clear in a way the best, other maybe Inexorable.
You think that's the best one? I like that. That's a good one for Deathwing.
Well, I like the better advance and charge. I like the +1 strength for the way I want to play nowadays, and I like Brilliant Strategist.
I think honestly, Master of Maneuver is that's one that stands out.
Really?
The capability of just getting that extra movement because you go
it's
forward.
Shoot or charge, and he's good at both. I hate having only one or the other.
Right. Well,
even if I had both, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, either shoot or charge.
Why?
I wouldn't do it for the shoot so much because you can just fall back and shoot for 2 command points.
For multiple different stratagems.
I would use it to move forward, kill something, and then next turn, if I don't kill it, fall back and go even further into enemy lines.
I don't want him going by himself. He's such a force multiplier.
I suppose, yeah. But I'm always super reckless with my characters anyways. It's just, to me, he's just like a 100-something point guy who's just going to be super annoying for the enemy to deal with. But maybe these guys do play differently than I typically would.
Well, I play them differently. I don't do that. Yeah.
It's what I compare it to is the Necron warriors who don't. All they want to do is shoot their Reapers, charge in, do no damage, obviously, unless they're no
pushing forward,
and then they fall back, shoot and charge, and they just get deeper.
Having Necron warriors do that is one thing. Having a Space Marine character by himself do it,
yeah. Well, I think like Space Marine characters. Like when I think of Space Marine characters, I still have that old meta mentality. It's just a missile. That's all it is. You just,
well, I mean,
you're paying like 120 points for him. He just goes forward, he smashes something, he doesn't kill it, he just keeps.
I would do it if I could also take inexorable, but they're ones very ones that you can't do both.
You can't do both of those.
Wait a minute, he might. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you can't do it. Okay, the next section is the Enteromancy Discipline, and this one is a particular section of frustration for me.
Because they're all good.
I want all of these psychic powers all the time. They're all good.
They're doing an excellent job with a lot of the new psychic disciplines. There are a couple that have been a little lackluster, but I like every single Death Guard Contagion discipline. I like a lot of the Space Wolf ones. Apparently Steve likes all these Enteromancy ones. They're trying their best to just make them all powerful.
The problem is...
That's the safest thing to do, just make them all powerful.
The problem is...
That means they're all good.
The first three are the ones I'm always going to take, and the next three are all really good, but they're a little more situational.
I see, so you
But like I really want... When you need those, you really want them.
Yeah.
So I think these are more likely to help you win the game, but these are going to be... Okay, so the first one's Mindworm. 18-inch range, casting value 6. Select one enemy unit within range. It takes 1 mortal wound. And until the start of the next... until the start of your next psychic phase, that unit is not eligible to fight until all things have fought. That is so good. I'm taking that one. That one is taken.
18-inch... 18 inches lockdown is wild. To be able to target something 18 inches away, not need line of sight, because you just select one thing, you give them the little mind worm, they take a mortal wound, and then they just get beat up by your whole army.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't, don't forget, folks, you cannot counter offensive against that. You just sit there and you take that beating until you're the last one to go.
You can do a lot of close combat in this book nowadays.
Yeah. That's close combat is starting to it's poking its head over. It's been doing that for a while now.
It's climbing. It's so much so that I want to play close combat.
It's the best way to get points, man. You bully people. You charge someone on objective. You bully. You kill a unit and you take an objective from them. That's what close combat does.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You get the most
You have to charge people off objectives.
You have to charge them off objective. Absolutely. You get a version. These all sound very familiar to me, so these are probably just...
They just buffed a version right up.
It's a malediction as well. Warp charge value of 6. 24-inch range, does not need line of sight. And until the end of the phase...
neither does Mindworm.
No, Mindworm you don't need line of sight either. So, obscuring terrain, you don't care about it. When that unit is within 6 of the Psyker, subtract 1 from its attack characteristic. That's wildly good. And then each time a model in that unit makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So it's always -1 to hit, but if you're very close to the Psyker, it's -1 attack as well.
So good.
It's pretty much 24 inch range.
It used to be the same casting value in the same range and just -1 to hit, and it was so useful. You took it all the time. But now if you're close, we're getting into combat here. Wow.
So the -1 to hit thing, not a huge, for me that's whatever. I feel like -1 to hit isn't as devastating as it used to be, but that -1 attack is brutal.
-1 hit's still a big deal.
It's a big deal, absolutely, but it's just I probably wouldn't take a version over Mindworm.
No,
I think Mindworm's
Mindworm's way better now. Yeah.
I think Mindworm.
Righteous Repugnant is back. 7 to cast. That's the downside. Unit within 12. Reroll hit and a wound.
Okay.
It's melee only, I believe. Yeah, melee only.
So you choose one of your units, any Deathwing unit, any Dark Angel unit.
Yeah.
They get to reroll all hit and wound rolls. That's great.
It's great for Black Knights, but it's great for everybody.
Everyone can benefit from that. And you can do that on characters too, so you can kind of take away the fact that they lost their core thing, so you can give them a little bit more hitting power. We have Trephination, the next one. Witchfire has a warp charge value of 5. You select the closest enemy unit that is visible within 18 inches, and they suffer D3 mortal wounds. If the result of the psychic test is was greater than their leadership characteristic, it's instead 3 mortal wounds. That's okay. That's nice.
The way I see this is you're taking on a guy who is going to do Trephination Smite.
This is a mortal wound guy. This is the guy who just does 3 to 6 mortal wounds a turn.
Well, 2 to 6.
But he could just be 3 automatically too, right?
Forget the second part. It's exactly the same as Smite.
This is literally Smite.
If you roll this one, that's the casting value. It could be straight.
So you can Smite for 5, and this one doesn't go up.
If I'm going up, if the Nightbringer, if I know Nightbringers are going to the table, I'm bringing a Trephination Smiter.
Right, absolutely.
The problem is what other spells am I not casting. Engulfing Fear is next. I'm not going to take it that often, but there's going to be times where I wish I did.
It's Warp Charge Value 7, hate it already.
That's the problem. It's Warp Charge Value 7, though if you take Ezekiel, he gets +1 to cast anything in Terromancy, so that helps out a lot. Select one enemy unit within 24 of the sector until the start of the next command phase. Subtract 1 from the leadership. No big deal. Oh, sorry, next second phase. Subtract 1 from leadership. The unit cannot use their objective secured ability.
Yeah.
And if the casting value is equal to or greater than that unit's leadership characteristic, they immediately stop performing actions, or action immediately fails.
This one is like...
That could win you a game. I don't know how often I'm going to take it. I might.
For now, as far as I know, the biggest competitive action that people take is the Shadow Operations Deploy Scramblers.
That one's immediate.
That one's immediate, so you can't interrupt that one. There are some army book specific ones that people typically can take, but they only ever take the ones that are immediate. They never take the ones that their opponent has a chance to.
When books are coming out, I can see this potentially, once like Eldar Tyrannus come out with the second books, this could be something you might want to take competitively. But as it stands now, it's really good. Other things are a little bit better, but there are times when you just really wish you had this, but you're not. I don't personally see taking it as the default.
Now taking away
is it good?
Taking away the obstac is a good, but it's casting 5, so cast value.
Casting 7 is the thing, right?
That's a little iffy there. I don't know.
And then finally we got Mind Wipe. It's a malediction. Casting value 7 again, 18-inch range. You target an enemy, I guess unit, and they lose all aura abilities.
You target a Psyker, yeah.
There are times when it's going to be super good.
You target a character.
Well, it's a character?
Well, you select one ability.
Because there could be a unit with the auras in the future.
Right, yeah.
But you turn off somebody's aura. It can be amazing, but I don't see it taken as one of your defaults. Especially since Mindworm, Aversion, Righteous Repugnance, Trephination are all just solid things you're going to use.
I'm trying to think of someone who has, like, Death Guard have a bunch of auras now. In fact, their army-wide rule is that aura of -1 toughness. So you can turn off that. That's not that big of a deal. But like Mortarion has aura Warlord traits. He has one of them. And like typically one of the better ones is the no rerolling allowed near him. You could turn that off if you wanted to.
Okay.
Other than that though, this is like Rites of Battle.
What's the invul on Mortarion?
4 up.
It's 4 up?
Yeah.
I guess he has more than that anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so Terromancy, I'm going to call it all aces. Aces.
Yeah. Like Steve's right. There are 3 that are like. I think Mindworm is for me is the
Mindworm's.
Only because like it's got like the perfect storm. It doesn't need line of sight. It's cast on 6. It's got good range and it has an amazing ability.
Hold on. I'm thinking Mindworm. If I'm playing a close combat, I'm going to take a Mindworm.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but I feel like if you're going to take. Even if you're taking Ravenwing, that could be argued as like the Knights are pretty good at close combat.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
So if you're gonna play Ravenwing, you're probably gonna have Knights in your army.
I have no problem charging in Samuel and the Talonmaster and the Knights all sending it because they're not gonna spend 2 command points to wipe one of them out.
Exactly.
All right, Relics of the Rock. A lot of good, a lot of okay, and a couple of like the first one I'm not very happy with.
7. Yeah.
The Mace of Redemption is. Basically, it replaces a Power Maul or a Crozier's Arcanum. And here's what it does. It is a Power Fist that is not -1 to hit.
Okay.
And if you're hitting Heretic Astartes or Fallen, unmodified wound rolls of 4+, do 2 mortal wounds.
Yeah, so what this pretty much is only a Power Fist without the -1 hit. But I guess all Chaos Space Marines?
I don't like taking a relic that tailors to one particular faction. And... like
I'm going to assume you would never take this.
I'm never ever going to take this.
In a blind list build.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why.
I'll take it against Death Guard. But like, if I want to replace the Crozier's Arcanum with a weapon, it's going to be this or like Fury Benediction. And then if I'm taking Fury Benediction, I'm probably taking the Litany of Fury of the Strength that gives you +1 damage to your weapons. But if I take Fury of the Strength in this weapon, and I roll a 4+ wound against Chaos, I lose a +1 damage. Just like it's just not well thought out. It's just a Power Fist that's not -1 to hit. I don't like it.
Now this next one, if you're playing Deathwing, you're definitely taking this one. This is
people are going to be upset. Well, Death Guard players are going to be upset.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to compare their Terminators. They're supposed to be super durable, right? So you have to give them rules like this to represent that. Otherwise, just kind of walk all over the place, falling over, dying like idiots. We have the Pennant of Remembrance. It's reworked. It's Deathwing Ancient only, obviously. In your command phase, you select one Deathwing Infantry Corps unit, so not Dreadnoughts or anything like that.
Infantry Corps. Infantry.
They're not infantry though, yeah. Within 6 inches of the bearer until the start of your next command phase, each time an attack is allocated to a model in that unit, you subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of that attack.
The great thing about it is you don't have to stay close to the banner anymore.
Yeah, you pick a unit and they run off.
Yeah. It used to be, the banner was models within 6 had a 5 victor damage.
Yeah.
Now it's pick a unit and then they are -1 damage to the next command phase.
Right.
And they run off on their own. So
This
you can't be wounded on a 4+.
Right.
Or sorry, less than a 4. And -1 damage. With an apothecary nearby, it's just can be real frustrating.
Well, so at least with this, you have there's at least counterplay to it because before it'd be a stupid like little Death Star you'd kind of move around together, right? And it was kind of hard to deal with. This one, you pick that big squad of guys. Like, oh, I'm just not gonna shoot them. I'm just gonna shoot the other guys nearby or whatever.
Well, okay, so the Space Marine hold the center. Oath of Moment.
Oath of Moment. Yeah.
I doubt there's right now better Space Marine in the game other than 10 Deathwing Terminators to sit on an objective and just hold it. I mean, put Asriel, forgive him 4 invuln for everybody, but he probably has a couple of Stormers in the squad. Yeah, the 6 Infernal Pain from Apothecary. He's gonna bring models back, -1 damage, can't be wounded on better. Like, it's gonna hold that center.
That's a fight you don't typically want to go in, unless you have something that can like something like a Nightbringer could go tango with that or something. But like that's only Necrons. Mortarion might do okay, but just because they wouldn't kill each other typically, right? They would just get stuck at a standstill.
Well, I think we can take care of Mortarion now.
You might be able to,
but we'll get to that.
Oh, because you get to only because the reroll wound rolls. That's really good.
The next roll here I talk about. I think it's just amazing.
Oh, the Shroud of Heroes.
So next note, I'll talk. Shroud of Heroes is back. Just -1 hit a character, and then my favorite relic here. Go nuts.
Oh yeah, this is the Reliquary of the Repentant. This is Ravenwing biker model only. So any character, that's not a named character like Samael. While an enemy is within 3 of the bear, each time an invulnerable saving throw is made for that model, reduce it. Well, it can never. Sorry, it's worded oddly, but it's very basic. A model in that unit that has an invulnerable save of 4 or better, the saving throw is only successful on unmodified roll of 5.
Yeah. So like in the game you're gonna watch, you're gonna see me take a Ravenwing champion with the Reliquary of the Repentant. He's gonna drive on forward. He's gonna sit in between a unit of Zoanthropes and a Swarm Lord. A Swarm Lord has like 3-up invuln in combat, but it doesn't matter here. And then I'm going to shoot them down with guns, and they can only roll 5 for their invuln.
Yeah.
It's a hard counter to Zoanthropes, not that you need counters to Tyranids.
Right.
But it's a hard counter to anything with a really good invuln. Like Custodians that still have 3-up invulns.
Yep.
You're going to go drive one of these characters nearby and reload.
Bam. Yep.
Yeah.
You can't, it can only ever be made on unmodified 5.
Yeah, you're going to go up against some armies that you're just not going to do anything.
Right. So that's
when
the problem,
you need it, it's there.
When you do build your list, you have to build them blind, right? You have no idea what you're bringing. You could bring this, and it might only affect 1 character in their army, right?
Yeah.
But you're right, it does
like
it hurts Mortarion, it hurts them a little bit, that's good to know. It hurts them, it hurts Catan Shards too. Like they rely on those invulnerable saves.
Anything that Space Marines typically need dead has an invuln.
It's true.
Typically. There's going to be exceptions, obviously. Next, we got the Foe Smiter. It's back.
I love the Foe Smiter.
I know. I wish
I've always liked relics.
There's a bunch of good relics. That's the problem.
I love just good range, like single. Like this is a Stormbolter. It's Assault 4, Strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage. This reminds me of the Wrath of the Emperor, the Sisters of Battle. I just love that relic.
It's just a good relic. That's what I want it every time. But like, man,
it's hard to compare that to. Like, see, that's a good bring. Like that's a good relic just to bring. You're kind of safe to bring that no matter what. Like the Penitent of Remembrance for Deathwing, sure, that's great. That might never, that could literally do nothing. That could do nothing. Same with the Reliquary of the Repentant. Both great relics.
Foe Smiter is going to do something every game.
Right, exactly. You could be safe taking Foe Smiter. You're probably not going to. You're probably going to take the risk and take the Reliquary, right? And then just kind of bank on someone taking the good stuff in the game. Do have invulnerable saves, so like it is safe to take that. But I like Foe Smiter. Foe Smiter's fun.
Next one, we have the Eye of the Unseen is back, but it's different. You now have an aura of subtract 1 leadership because you're scary.
Oh, yep.
And any characters engagement range of this model with this relic have fights last. It's just another way of fighting last.
That's
a Talon Master can take it. It's just if we can just go jump on Mortarion with a bunch of units, maybe we can take him down, right?
Yeah. I would definitely do in the future. Steve and I are definitely going to do a Death Guard versus so every time we've done Death Guard versus a Dark Angel, has always been the goofy Terminator versus Terminator game that, whatever.
We just are slightly better every time.
Right. It's just they have the.
But you're not a Terminator army, but it's kind of cool to play Terminators because you love Terminators.
Yes, exactly. It's just they benefit from having Terminators in their list, but they play Marines, Terminators, Demon Engines, Mortarion, Demon Princes, all that stuff.
Can Mortarion take? He can take his main. He can get killed in 1 round, right?
Yeah. But he typically he is like surprisingly durable with evering he's got built in.
If he can't interrupt,
Right.
He only has a 5 bin vuln. Shooting in all their close combat, like, I think Dark Angels, I haven't really checked out Mortarion since the new book came out.
It might be able to.
I think they got him, right?
So
Reroll a hit and a wound, 3 damage apiece.
it's the rerolling the wound that I don't think he would die, but you do some damage to him. It's unpredictable, right?
Well, we'll find out.
He's -1 to hit. So typically,
Oh, -1 to hit, okay.
well, you have to get the psychic power off, but you typically put him in strategic reserves. So no matter what, even if you're stuck to go second, he's safe. And then
Interesting.
He shows up, puts -1 to hit on himself, and then he.
Okay.
goes-
Okay. Well, we'll try that one day.
Yeah.
We got the. I don't like this one, but maybe it's good. I don't know. The Cup of Retribution is for a chaplain model only.
Cup of Retribution.
Yeah, the drinks from Retribution, right? Once per game, you can use the Feast of Malediction litany, which is automatically. You don't have to roll; it just works. Dark Angel's core within 6 of the priest add 1 to attack characteristics. I don't want to give up my other litanies for that. Like, it's good. It's once per game.
Right.
I don't want to wait for the perfect time. It's not for me.
Okay.
Some people might love it, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't scream great for me too. It's nice. It's cool. Sure. That's it for the Relics of the Rock, though. Again, you can only take these if you're playing Dark Angels, not a successor. I'm always curious how people play that rule because it's just a feel bad rule, right? Like I'm a successor to Ultramarines. I actually don't get to take a relic unless I spend a command point, but I can take special issue war gear, I guess. But we really want the relics. Right, that's just how. Because I remember playing. People would always play the Iron Hand successor when they were really competitive at the tail end of 8th edition, and you'd have to spend a command point to take the Iron Stone. But you'd want to be the stealthy. I can't remember the other trait they took.
Chiefs.
The Chiefs. Yeah.
Is the bolter extra range thing?
It might. I think you may be right. I can't remember. It was stealthy and something. I think people changed up the second one from time to time, but everyone took stealthy. And the special issue war gear, you have your basic ones: adamantine mantle, which is 5 up to ignore wounds. You have a 2-up save and a 5-up invulnerable save on artificer armor, and the mastercrafted weapon is +1 damage.
The first
weapon.
4 everyone has.
Yeah, and digital weapons, you have all these. But now here are the unique Dark Angel ones. Heavenfall blades, Steve mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it's back.
They like their swords apparently as Dark Angels. This is known. It is known. It's an upgrade to a power sword, mastercrafted power sword, relic blade, or executioner's relic blade, which is what's his name? The guy with it on his shoulder.
Yeah,
Disir? Yeah, that's that guy there. So it's a strength +2, -4 AP, 2 damage, 1 additional attack with this weapon, and a Ravenwing Talon Master is eligible to be given this relic, even though it is a vehicle. Oh, because typically, yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
If I'm making a list that I could probably just spend a command point to give this relic to somebody if I didn't need 2 relics elsewhere.
Right.
I'm not going to buy a 3rd relic with this.
Can you just give this to all your sergeants with power swords? Can you just give all your? Can you just play Greenwing? Give all your sergeants power swords. Give them Heavenfall blades.
You can't give them. Wait, I thought they're like 1 per.
I'm reading the stratagem again now. Before the battle, select a Dark Angel, Huntmaster, or Nightmaster. Oh, so it's only Dark Angel, whatever a Huntmaster is, which is Ravenwing.
That's the Black Knight character.
And then Nightwing is the Deathwing character. Nightmaster, right?
Is a flail guy.
Is the flail guy or a Dark Angel?
He can't have this.
Oh, sorry. Or a Dark Angel's model from your army that has a sergeant.
Yeah.
That model can be given one of the following special issue war gear relics, even though they are not a character. And sorry, you can't do Heavenfall Blade. It's either digital weapons, mastercrafted weapon, bolts of judgment. Okay, never mind. You can't do Heavenfall Blade. Heavenfall Blade should have just been
a regular relic then.
But I guess a successor could take this though, with those specific command points.
All right, I see. Arbiter's Gaze. I want to love it. I can't figure out how I would use it. Basically, you always hit it on a 2+ with your shooting, even if you're overwatching, which is really good. Talon Master who can take it.
It's a bionic eyeball.
Yeah, but who's going to charge the Talon Master if he knows he's going to fire 18 shots on 2s as you're charging?
Well, that's the thing. It just makes one not unchargeable, but it's a very heavy deterrent.
Yeah, I don't think you need it because he already has hits on 2s.
He also ignores cover too. I feel like
he also can make himself ignore cover. Oh, no, only core.
I feel like this was a thing they had before. This sounds familiar. Each time the bearer makes an attack, a hit roll of 2+ is always successful, including when firing Overwatch. Ignoring all modifiers.
We have Atonement. It is a Strength 9, -4, 3 damage, 18-inch range pistol. It's a super plasma pistol.
It's a plasma pistol.
It's a 3 damage plasma pistol, strength 9, AP4.
It never backfires. No. Super reliable. You can make this 4 damage with maybe.
Yep.
I guess.
With Weapons of the Dark Age. Well, is it plasma? Yeah, it's plasma.
It's an upgraded plasma pistol.
I'm not going to spend 2 command points for that, but whatever. And then Bolts of Judgment.
Actually, I don't think it technically, unless, because it says you have to look at Codex Space Marines to reference what a plasma weapon is. This definitely would not be in Codex Space Marines. So you can't make it 4 damage, but whatever.
I think you can, but I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
Bolts of Judgment, you take 1 shot with a bolt gun. It becomes 1 shot, -2, 3 damage. Always use a 2+, unless you fire a vehicle or monster.
Sure. I mean, I typically the bolts.
Meh.
Meh.
All right, let's go into the final section in this mini section, the chapter approved rules.
Right.
All right, we got 3 secondaries here. 2 I think are fantastic. 1 is I think you would love, but it's not for me. Purge the enemy, martial interdiction. Basically, you tell your opponent to pick one of their characters, and you got to kill them.
Yeah, this is the big challenge one, I suppose. Purge the enemy. You're here to kill that guy. He knows the secrets, so says Steve.
Yeah. Now, if my opponent brings just Mortarion,
right,
or just a Flying Hive Tyrant, or something like that, I'll take it.
Okay.
But if there's even one Nero throw, there's even one Warden,
yeah,
I'm not going to take it because they're typically not worth going after for the points. So you get 6 points for killing that character, 3 additional points if it was killed by a model with Inner Circle or Deathwing, and then 6 additional points if it was done. Wait.
It's 3 points if he's killed melee by those 2, or 6 points if it was a Dark Angel's model unit that destroyed this likely model has not yet been destroyed.
So at the end of the game, if I kill it with this skimmer, I get 6 more points if it's still alive.
Okay.
So I have to. So basically, the lore here is I'm killing him, I'm dragging him away, I'm capturing him to interrogate. But if you kill the guy who's captured him, we don't get the body. Right. But it's cool. Super narrative. There are gonna be times you can take it because your opponent brought one character that isn't hideable.
Right.
But
typically every army's gonna have at least 2 characters.
Nah.
Oh, I guess not these guys. They might have one.
Like you see a lot of Vanguard Riders. And,
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not terrible.
I guess patrols only have 1 too.
No, we have 1 for Ravenwing. If you're playing Ravenwing, you're taking this. It's so good.
No mercy, no respite. Death on the wind.
Death on the wind. Score 2 victory points every time a Ravenwing model from your army has destroyed an enemy unit, but the Ravenwing model had to have either moved 12 that turn
or charged.
Yep. Now we're saying already, and this is it. People are going to debate this. We're not even going to argue it. This is not moving 12. We're playing it. You have to have displaced 12 inches of movement.
Oh, I see what the issue is.
Because
yeah.
people are going to argue it.
I wonder because this.
No, somebody's going to argue it. Yeah. We already know this. We know people who are going to argue this.
A Ravenwing model from an army that moved 12 inches or more during the movement phase. I mean, I don't know if there's... I'd have to look at the rulebooks. I don't know if there's like a clear...
Because this is... Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're going to play displaced.
Displaced, yeah. Because the thing is always you can move 6 inches and then you just go 6... You go 6, 6 back to where you were. Do you have to go more than 12? That moved 12
at least
or more. 12 or more. So
or
6,
have
6,
charged.
6, 6, shoot, kill something. I have moved 12 and I've killed something.
You can get max points in a turn or 2 with this. Every time a Ravenwing model...
Each time an enemy unit is destroyed by an attack. So yeah, you have to kill... Every unit you kill... That's kind of cool, actually. You could theoretically get all 15 in 1 turn.
That means your army... This time, your army's constantly circling. It's constantly moving.
That's to represent
that. I'm going to move forward, I'm going to move back.
You're always moving, you're always killing, you're always charging Ravenwing stuff.
I'm taking it no matter what. Even if somebody does the math and says, oh, it's slightly better to get points with it. I don't care. This is cool. I'm taking it. Also, I think it's really powerful.
Yeah.
The next one is Stubborn Defiance. It's in the Battlefield Supremacy category. This one's interesting. In your first command phase, you got to pick an objective on the table. And then if you control that objective, at the end of that, you do that turn, and then I tried to explain. I'll just read it and then try to explain it better. In your first command phase, select one objective marker at the end of each of your command phases after the first. If you control that objective marker with a Dark Angels unit from your army that has objective secured, score a number of victory points based on the consecutive number of the command phases that you've controlled that objective marker. There's a chart explaining. So basically, turn 1, I'm going to pick one of the objectives in my command in my deployment zone. I'm going to sit on it with an objective secured unit. In my next command phase, I will have controlled it. So battle round 2, I will have controlled it for 2 command phases. So I will immediately score 2 points. And then in battle round 3, in my third command phase, I will control it for 3 command phases and score 3 points. Now I'm up to 5. The next turn I'm going to get 5 points. The next turn I'm going to have 5 points. So you have to hold it for all 5 turns and 15 points. But with heavy intercessors, a Terminator squad, a backfield, like this is almost a guarantee.
This one is. It's pretty much telling your opponent you have to come over here and kill or take this objective that's in the heart of my territory. Because you can choose any objective. You can choose one right in your territory. It doesn't have to be in no man's land.
And there always is one, as far as I can remember, correct? There's always
I think there's always at least one skirting the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always at least one touching your territory.
So what I did, weirdly enough, in the battle report you're going to see in the vault that's connected to this video right here, is I actually took this with Ravenwing and with Death in the Wings. So what I did was, because I gained core on my biker squad, I put them on this side of the objective, and the first turn I moved to this side of the objective. I moved my 12 and stayed on it and kept on going back and forth. And I stayed on it, and they're hard to shift. There's a lot of wounds. Reactive stratagems, you can minus one hit the bikes, you can go 4-up invuln. They held it just fine and able to keep their movement up.
Battlefield supremacy.
I'm happy that I really like 2 of these. The third one's really fluffy, and I'm going to use it for like narrative, especially.
That's
Luka.
my favorite one. Yeah.
I'm going to use it against Luka because, like, you're definitely going to see the other one, but 2 of them are fantastic. I am super happy with the chapter approved rules.
Which one do you think you take more, though? I guess Ravenwing one. Always.
Okay, well, no, I think I'm taking Battlefield Supremacy in 100% of my games.
Right.
With Dark Angels, and I'm going to take Death on the Wind in 100% of my games with Ravenwing.
Okay.
So, sorry, if I only have 1 or 2, if I'm playing pure Ravenwing, I'm taking that one. If I'm playing pure Ravenwing, pure Deathwing, or Greenwing, I'm taking Stubborn Defiance. No matter what, I'm taking Stubborn Defiance.
So Stubborn Defiance is the one you'll pretty much take every game.
I think if there's an objective to center the table, and on one in my deployment zone, I'm going to take Stubborn Defiance and Oath of Moments every time.
Interesting. Interesting. I guess I never considered taking one from each book.
Wait, can you do that? I'm sure you can do that.
You probably could. You only take one of these, no matter what. But maybe you can only take. Maybe you can also take one from the Space Marine book too. I guess I didn't read. I guess I could read this. Because the Space Marines have access to their Space Marine one, but they also have access to their specific chapter ones too.
Interesting. If every model in your army, excluding Ages of the Pyramid and Unaligned, has a Dark Angels keyword, and your Warlord has a Dark Angels keyword, you can, if you're playing a match play battle that instructs you to select secondary objectives, select one of them from a Dark Angels secondary objectives list below. Yeah, I'm sure you're fine.
Yeah, I think you can. That's what I'm saying. I've never considered that. I typically just take the one Space Wolf one I really like. And I never consider Oath of Moment.
I love Oath of Moments. Even if it's not a good one, I love the idea of it. Oh, also Dark Angels, particularly Deathwing, are really good at Oath of Moments because we don't fail morale.
They actually don't fail morale, and they don't. And they typically don't fall back either. So yeah,
I'm finally happy with my secondaries.
I'm actually kind of pleased to figure out the whole oh man, you can take one from each book there. That's cool. I like that.
And there's only one final thing to talk about in this book. There's technically a new model, but not really. Everything else that's printed, all the data sheets printed in this book are basically the stuff that we reviewed, how long ago now? A couple months? When the Dark Angels got their FAQ supplement thing.
The little print, the printout for Dark Angels, Blood Angels, and Space Wolf.
The rest, that's the same, except for there's even stratagems there that are gone, but obviously that's gone. And all the data sheets are the same. But we now have a Deathwing Strike Master. It's a Deathwing Lieutenant. So it's a Terminator Lieutenant, which is exactly what you'd expect.
He's got tactical precision.
It's just a Deathwing Lieutenant, which is made from the Deathwing kit.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing there to talk about the data sheets at all. So just kind of final thoughts. When I was going through it, I'm going, I'm worried that as it stands today, a little too much, but Space Marines are a little too much at the moment. We know books are coming out. I don't think many non-9th edition codices can stand up to Space Marines as it is, and these supplements. So I think the real test is when we put them up against Death Guard and Necrons.
I think
Blood Angels.
I think all the new codexes coming out are pretty fuego, man. They're pretty hot.
They are. It really does feel like a a different game compared to the old armies.
It does. It really does. Yeah.
I don't think you'll see many bat reps unless we're doing something super narrative of 9th edition codices versus non moving forward.
Right.
Because the power level is skyrocketing. But I'm not saying this is more powerful than Blood Angels. I'm not saying this is more powerful than Necrons. I don't know yet. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But it's more powerful than Gene Stealers. It's more powerful than the cult, for sure.
Absolutely, yep. That's a tough fight for the cult right there. Let me tell you, these guys, these new codexes, they play Warhammer when they hit the table.
They play Warhammer.
They play Warhammer when they hit the table. Yeah. Let me tell you, and it feels good, and I'm happy these new codexes are coming out because it feels real good.
I love everything about this book so much that I am currently, as a Dark Angels player, worried that as it stands right now, it might be a little too strong. But I just don't want to have a book that's better than everybody else's. I want to earn my victories, but I also want to have really good, strong things.
Right.
So I'm very happy with this book. Hopefully it's not too good, and hopefully I'll be able to play some Deathwing battle reports where people don't think they're too cheesy.
Deathwing. See, when I look at these two, I look at those guys. I'm like,
I personally think this is where it's at now.
The Raven Wing, because it's all about speed. They have the speed. They have the durability. Like these guys have the durability.
Everything they were lacking for 9th edition, they gained in this book. We got objective secured. We got only for this engagement range. Yep. We got the hit and run. We got everything we could possibly need for 9th edition. Can't complain.
Games Workshop, I think, is doing an excellent job. They're looking at, even in the new FAQ, they looked at, even though the older codexes don't have codexes, they looked at them and they've seen the weaknesses in the army, and then they lowered the points cost of the things that could make up for those weaknesses, allowing them to come in.
I think
these new reprints.
Something worth talking about, because I don't know if we were talking about on camera, but if you crunch the numbers for Space Marines as a whole, everything is very viable. Everything is viable.
It is there's good internal balance in the Space Marine book.
But Primaris tends to be slightly better for the comparison.
I think so, probably.
Now, there is going to be a weird exception. I don't know if this is going to be painful for Dark Angel pure Dark Angel players.
Yeah.
But I last night, after spending a day with this book, I spent last night putting together some lists of I'm going to purchase some paint, which I think are greatly reduced in power. So, a Primaris only Raven Wing is going to be significantly weaker than a Raven Wing.
Yes.
For the first time ever.
I think.
But I'm going to build one.
That these specialists, I don't know what to call them. These even though these are supplements, they're still. They used to be all like Dark Angels, Space Wolves, and Blood Angels were their own armies. I think all those books actually play better without Primaris. Because if you look at Blood Angels, one of their biggest things are the Sanctuary Guard, Death Company. Primaris helps supplement very well, but a lot of their big show pieces are their old Marines. Space Wolves, I'm having a hard time thinking of an example right now. Like Thunderwolf Cavalry, absolutely right. That's not Primaris. That is not Primaris at all. Thunderwolf Cavalry are amazing. Look at Dark Angels. Not a single Primaris bomb on the table.
But when I play a Primaris Deathwing detachment, first company, nothing will be objective secured.
Exactly.
Blade Guard veterans aren't objective secured.
You're going to need these Terminators for OBSEC.
I'm not going to do it. I'll obviously have my stuff. This is all mine. I am going to have a Primaris first company. I am going to have a Primaris second company. They will be inferior to these. So I feel like I'll be able to play bat reps without them being called cheesy.
Sure, that's true. Yeah, it's just going to be weird. It's not going to be OBSEC, and that's going to be a lot of.
I'll have OBSEC Outriders.
That's a lot of work you're going to have to do.
I'm doing it. Oh, I'm already half done actually. No joke, I'm already half done.
I throw the Death Wing. You need Dreadnoughts repulsors and a lot of Blade. It's only Blade Guard veterans actually.
It's 2 units of 6 Blade Guard veterans.
What about the captain with the shield and the sword?
He's the captain.
Okay. Yeah.
And I got a lieutenant from that same kit. Already painted bone.
What was that?
The Blade Guard Ancient. To have that banner, the
plus one attack,
No, well,
for Blade Guards, and obviously the banner.
Well, the banner, yeah. So it's not optimal, but it'll look cool and it'll be Primaris. So 3 years into Primaris models being out, I'm finally adding them to my army, and they're the inferior to these. Don't worry, you'll still see plenty of these. I just don't feel right playing this right now. But when more books are coming out, and we know everything kind of got slowed down by COVID, because this book was supposed to be out 2 months ago.
Right.
Almost 2 months ago.
Yeah. And I guess Drukari's next?
Yeah, that was supposed to be last December as well.
I believe so, because that was like that was the Xenos one that they teased, and then they finally released saying, it's gonna be Drukhari, which we all kind of thought it was gonna be.
We kind of,
we hoped it was something else.
Yeah, everyone was hoping for a weird new. We don't know.
Like, a new Xenos army, but it was like, it's probably Drukhari though. Let's be real, and that's what's probably coming.
Either way, awesome. Hope new books come out soon. We'll keep trying to get new stuff, but I guess I'll play Drukhari next and do Drukhari review next.
Yes, absolutely. And don't forget, if you want to see these guys firsthand, you can check out the battle report that Steve played with Matthew. It was Tyranids versus the Ravenwing first. Is that the one it is?
Yes.
It's Ravenwing. You can click the link down below to check that out.
No, it's a pretty decent game because Matthew, I'll give Matthew a lot of credit. He put in the time and effort to come up and brought an army to the table that could fight. Right. He did his research to find the best way he could play because we have a power disparity here, and he did a good job. He did a good job.
That's a good game. So check it out if you're interested, and give yourself some actual practical insight into how the army plays, other than like the theory of it. Anyways, folks, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time, and as always, happy wargaming and stay safe.